Hi, Dumpster Divas. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. It is me, Tom Hamlin, and I am here, flying solo, to chat all things Traitors Season 4, Episode 6. And I also want to dabble a little toe into the fantastic kind of season finale of Real Housewives of Potomac that we did have happen on Sunday. Thank you guys, by the way, for listening to my interview with Rachel Lindsay. Rachel and I had a blast. If you have not checked that out yet, please go listen. We dive into, what's next for the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, what we think about the state of Bravo in general, and what our kind of favorite general programming is on Bravo. We had a good time. There were a couple things. She knows more of the women personally than I expected. So I was trying to talk shit about Giselle and she was not having it. Well, hey, you know what? Rightfully so, because if she was talking shit about one of my friends, I would be like, no. She was open to my critiques, though. She didn't write me off for it, but it kind of reminds me that it frightens me to be a little too close to the sun with some of these people that we interview, like in terms of actual housewives. Like, I would love to chat with a housewife, but I don't want to have to like defend them forever. You know what I mean? I think that's my only thing. And she doesn't do that. She's very objective. Like, she's like, Giselle's being mean, and she just like calls her out on that. But I would struggle being critical of someone that I knew so well. So it was a good chat, though. We had a really great time. We have a lot of other fun things coming up on the show. I have Pet Shop Boy joining me for the Summer House Season 10 premiere recap that will be coming out a couple days after the premiere. I believe the premiere is on February 2nd. So whatever the Friday is after that, that's when that will be coming out. Also, we have the wonderful Uli from Uli and Ernesto on Instagram joining me to chat all things Traitors, which allegedly this next episode of Traitors is insane. Episode 7, where they have this big dinner party. So I'm excited to dive into that with Uli. There's a lot of fun content coming at y'all. Also, did you see the trailer for the America's Next Top Model doc on Netflix? That's going to be a must watch. I think a couple things are going to happen. I am definitely going to do a ranking of the America's Next Top Model cycles. That's going to come out shortly. Also, I want to do a trailer reaction, to chat through some of the beats in that. And also, we are going to do a breakdown of that documentary when it comes out in mid-February. So those are some things to look forward to here on the show. And if you are new to the show, we've gotten some new listeners. Make sure to check out Dumpster Dive on YouTube. YouTube.com/DumpsterDivePod is where the video version of this show can be found. And I'm working on really making that content look really slick. It's a slow journey. I'm a one-man band over here, but do go do that. And also, something I never plug, but it does sit there and you're welcome to support it, is there is a Dumpster Dive Patreon. I do not upload content to it regularly, but it is a $1.99 tier, and it's literally just if you feel so inclined to just support the podcast. $2 sounds like not a lot, but it actually covers a lot of my subscription costs to make sure editing happens for the show and everything. So that is always there. I'm TBD on whether I want to dive into uploading content on there, but if you do subscribe, you'll have access to tons of stuff. We covered, you can go see the olden days of the show where we covered Flavor of Love, America's Next Top Model, Mob Wives. That's all on there. Deep. Some interviews I've done where there's an interview with Wes Wilson that's on there that I think I only released the video there on Patreon. So go subscribe there if you want to support the show. So that's enough plugging here at the top. Let's get into the content. So I want to start first with Potomac. So, you know, I did not know we were barreling towards a season finale, which there's another episode, but we'll get to that. These ladies filmed a season finale in a gas station, and it's one of my favorite things that's ever happened on Bravo. It is one of my favorite things that I've seen happen on these shows. It is so diabolical, and Angel has both blood on her hands for putting production in a gas station to film a season finale, and she also she deserves an Emmy for failing to execute this trip, because if she had executed this trip perfectly, we would not have had the content that we had, and for that we must give her another season. She must come back for another season. I will stand on this hill. I think I've talked about it on the pod, or maybe just in the group chats, but y'all, I need her to stay on. It would be such a disservice to abandon the storyline of where in the world is Angel Massey. Like, that would be such a detriment to the storyline of the show. The idea of Karen Huger maybe joining back next season and getting to meet Angel and trying to like figure out where she lives. There's so much good content waiting to be made, and I need her back. I need her to rally and figure it out, because next season we gotta have you there with the girls, Angel. Also, y'all, I guess people online talk shit about the show. I think this is probably their best season since the season that Nicki Minaj hosted that reunion. Jump scare. Should I bleep her name? No, like, it's been like probably 3 seasons of like trying to find our footing with Potomac. You know, like there was a season, that the NECA season, where we had the witchcraft storyline. I abandoned that because it felt incredibly problematic, and I just didn't feel like I needed to consume that type of story from Ashley Darby. And then last season I liked okay. I did. I had a good time, but I still was a little confused at where we were at with Karen. So this season we landed on our feet. You know, this season feels to me like one of my favorite seasons of Atlanta that I think often gets slept on is season 9, because it was Nene fully exited the show after coming back in as like a friend of season 8. She like showed up towards the end, and like there were season 7 and season 8, Nene was kind of like trying to figure out what to do with the show, you know? So season 9, she just wasn't on it. And I think we all were kind of scared what that meant for Real Housewives of Atlanta. And it was fantastic. The women just showed up because they knew that they needed to bring something to the table. And I felt that way in Potomac. Like, they just showed up. They were like, we don't have Karen. Giselle's a great grounding force here, but we also need the ladies to show up to work. Everyone showed up to work. And for that, I tip my Angel Massey cowboy hat. That's her last name, right? I didn't just make that up. It just keeps rolling off the tongue. Yeah, Angel Massey. And Bobby Massey. Bobby! She's always calling for Bobby, just like Giselle said. She's always like, Bobby! The idea that she kept saying, she also keeps very Sonia Morgan, Smokey Eye updo in Stad. Smokey Eye updo in Stad. She's like repeating coordinates, experience, and luxury. Like, she just keeps saying the same words over and over again. Like, she keeps saying, when she sits in those interview chairs, it's so funny because it's not like she's not like that on the show at all. And then her interview chair, she's like, and I prepared a beautiful excursion in the luxury mountains of Colorado. Do you know what I'm talking about? She like has this like grand dame energy in the confessions, and then in person she's like, hey, so next we're gonna go fly fishing. You know, there's just not, it's very interesting. She's kind of switching between these two personas. I need that confessional version of her to come out into the show version of her, personally. Because the confessional, she's bringing a real hoity-toityness that I think would be hilarious to see in the mix with the likes of the unhoity Ashley Darby. Ashley catching strays today. Sorry about it, Ashley. You probably deserve it. Okay, let's get into Traitors, though. Watch Potomac. Oh, also, next week we have a special before we get to the reunion with Karen Huger Comes Home. So I'm excited for that. Now, I didn't say this. This is not something that I feel comfortable describing someone as, but I will use someone else's thread as a descriptor. And Cara Berry said that she looks like she left prison looking like a stud on her way to pick up some chicks, or a stud on her way to brunch or something like that. And I have to co-sign that. And then we come to find out that actually she had her inmates all took pieces of their wigs out to give to her to make her braids as like a representation of the time and journey she went through in jail, which I thought was like kind of haunting and also beautiful. So she did rock that stud on her way to brunch look as she left the courthouse, and I think she looked great. She looked hot to me. But we get a great sit down with her and Andy that allegedly is pretty explosive. I don't really know what's new at the reunion then, you know? If the sit down is its own entity and then we have a reunion, so. But we'll get her at both. I'm excited for it. I do think we need to remember she is a criminal. She could have killed multiple people after 4 DUIs. We don't need to put her on a pedestal. However, I am curious to see what stories that Karen has from the clankety clank. Okay. Traitors, episode 6. So this episode, 4 and 5, I think we got some mixed reviews. Y'all loved those recaps with Kendrick and Raven. We had the best time. We really did. So I thank you guys for all your support. And it seems we got a lot of new listeners from them, which I appreciate that. I also am like, how have you followed the two of them and not found me? Because I've been on their shows so many times. But, you know, I am happy that you did find me. Oh, speaking of finding me, I will also be on So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey next Monday. So make sure to keep your Apple Podcast app updated so you can check out our chat. I think we're going to be recapping Potomac and maybe some Traitors over there too. So that's next week. But this week, episode 6. So we start out with the breakfast because there was we don't know yet if there was a murder the night before because we don't know if anyone took shields at that water fountain challenge. And so they're at their round table. There's people are slowly trickling in. Colton from the top of this episode, I mean, Colton was already pissing me off. Going into this episode, he just continues to piss me off. He's not playing the game like a faithful. He's not playing the game like a traitor. He's playing the game like a privileged white asshole. It is so beyond. I mean, it will only get worse as we go on in this recap, but like there's a gall to him that I've only ever seen with white straight men. And I'm sorry, like it's so beyond me that like he is almost cosplaying as gay. Now I can say that because I'm gay, okay? I don't want the straights out here being like, he's not really gay, he's not this, he's gay. But I'm just saying he's, as a gay man who has now unfortunately had to accept him into my community, I just feel that he is like, uses his gay card when it feels convenient and then plays his white straight card majority of the time, and that bothers me. So that's kind of where I'm at with Colty. But he, you know, everyone slowly comes in and we quickly learn that that no one was killed. So no one took the shields, which means everyone got a shield essentially because the traitors couldn't murder those that were left behind. I was actually kind of shocked by this. I actually thought that Colton is so diabolical. I could have seen him taking the shield alone. I think because he was in a group of people, I think they wouldn't have let him get away with that. So then we head into our challenge for the episode. So that is that little haunted house challenge that they always kind of have in the mix. Where this time they have everyone sitting around a round table and in that like shack, and things start to fall apart in the room, and then through those things there's clues to pick out of tombstone, and then they can get money through the tombstone. So the challenge is, here's the thing. If it's super athletic, I'm interested because I like to see these people try and be athletic. If it's super puzzle heavy, I'm interested because I like to see these people fail at puzzles. This was a little middle of the road. Like, seems pretty easy. Same with that fountain challenge where it's like the bigger entertainment factor here is just seeing Dorinda scream bloody murder as a woman in the corner just is like. So, we got some good content out of that, I guess. But they win some money, they lose some money, they're freaking out, and then the big rest of the episode really is just the things that happen in the castle. So we get to the castle, and Colton comes at Lisa again. And first he makes some comment about how he's like, Candace, Dorinda, and Lisa walked into the room together. And he was like, well, it's the Housewives back again. And it's like, girl, they just walked into this room together. They probably were going to go film confessionals. I doubt it was like that calculated, one. And then he makes some comment about Lisa, and he's like, so nice of you to not wear your sunglasses today. He's just making it so obvious that he's gunning for her. And guys, it doesn't make any sense to why you would play that game. So here I want to just break this down. If you play such a blatant game where you're like, everyone look, that's a traitor, she's a mess, I'm gonna work with her, I'm gonna make fun of her, I'm gonna tease her, I'm gonna push her, all that stuff. What they're going to it's going to make you look like a traitor because it's going to make you look like you're deflecting. And if that's not the case, and you get by and someone else gets murdered, or someone else gets banished, they're going to end up murdering you. And in the end, they're just going to they can just set it up to make it look like they're framing Lisa. They actually did that recently on a season of UK where they essentially kept framing people to be like, it must be this group of three because every person who comes for them gets killed. But then what the Faithfuls ended up finding out was obviously that wasn't the case because they tried to banish those people and it didn't work. So the game is full of deception. You being so blatantly obvious actually don't think helps you as much as you think it does, Colton. If anything, you're just showing how small your white dick is. Sorry. That's my thought about it. It's such a weird look. And then he pulls Lisa aside and he's like, here's the deal. I know you're a traitor, so I'm going to capture you. You keep me safe and I won't come for you at the round table. Now, okay, I listened to Rob Has a Podcast, which Rob Cesternino, who was banished on this season of Traitors. Was on Survivor a long time ago, and he's a great game player. And we didn't really get to see his gameplay that much on the season because he was banished, or murdered. A deserved murder, to be honest, because he's such a good game player. But he was talking about how he doesn't actually think that this capturing a traitor strategy is allowed past a certain point. When you play a game in a game show, like a television game show, even Jeopardy, something as multicam as Jeopardy, to something as like adventurous and wild as The Amazing Race. whenever there's a challenge, there's always a challenge person on site breaking down the rules with you to make sure that you understand how it is you get from point A to point B, what a challenge entails, what your role in the game entails, what you can, what you cannot do. Because if you break apart, when there's money on the line, they legally can't have people cheating because you will automatically get eliminated because it's breaking the rules of the game. So, no, anything that is a game, we may feel that it's rigged here and there. It's not really rigged. They can't actually rig anything. They can put in challenges that cater to a certain maybe physical or brain like capability, but they can't just rig how things go because that goes against the nature of gameplay. I actually maybe sometime soon I'll have one of my good friends, JW. He's been on the show before actually. He creates game shows. He's a game show writer and has a lot of really interesting intel when it comes to like game theory and how games are pieced together and where there's faults in games, where there's pros in games. I say all of this because the capturing the traitor, the problem with that is like in the legalities of the game, Lisa actually cannot tell Colton that she's a traitor. It would go against the rules of the game and Lisa would be disqualified. And I think Colton might be disqualified as well. That's not a part of the game. So they can't do that actually. So this was only as far as Colton could have gone with this. And Lisa rightfully is like, bitch, shut up. So there's only so far that this strategy could have gone. I think he thinks he's pulling a Dylan Efron or a Pilot Pete and being like the hero who's saving the day from these evil traitors, when in reality he's just coming across like this pompous game player who doesn't really actually know game theory in general. If you want to talk about game, go talk to Natalie. Okay, Natalie who won Survivor, Natalie who has had clear strategic game throughout this season, and also who went decently far on Winners at War. She's been on Survivor. She's been on Survivor 3 times actually. Went very far 2 seasons. Winners at War, I believe she got kicked out early, and then was the one to come back from the like Resurrection Island or something. So, like, she has fortitude if nothing else. Like she can withstand a ton in these games. So talk to her about game. Like you're not playing game, Colton. You're just being an elitist asshole. We also get this moment where Lisa's like, y'all, I know that you guys think I'm here because I'm a housewife. I have been a household name for a lot longer than I was a housewife. Like she was a housewife for 7 seasons probably. She probably joined in 2015 and she left in 2022 or 2023 maybe. So yeah, 7, 8 seasons. Like she's been in the business though for like 25, 30 years. Like her career as a soap actress transcends her career as a housewife. So I think, and she makes this clear to Colton. She's like, listen, you can be a punk ass bitch, but I am a household name. Clock that. And I am not always Lisa's biggest fan in the confines of Housewives. I think she plays that game a little too fast and loose. But you can't deny that she's an icon in the entertainment world. She is. Everyone knows Lisa Rinna from something, whether it's an Eminem, whether it's on Traitors, whether it's on Housewives, whether it's on Bold and the Beautiful, whether it's on Dancing with the Stars, whether it's on Celebrity Mole. I don't know. She's been on tons of shows. Like, it just, everyone knows who she is. And the lips don't quit. So, yeah, she says, I am much more than a housewife. And Colton, says, well, Colton's dismissal of that. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Let's get to the round table, though. So, the big issue at this round table is the fact that Ron is essentially like, I understand that you guys need me to go home to wrap up this story because like you have to close the chapter on me being a traitor, but unfortunately like I'm not. So I don't know what you're going to do. And they all essentially kind of agree. They're like, we know you're not, but we just kind of can't keep you here anymore. Which I kind of get. Like, this is the instances where sometimes the votes are more like Survivor, where it's just like, it doesn't make sense to keep you here anymore. I don't want to ride with you till the end. You're not my enemy, but you're certainly not going to be someone that advocates for me, so it just makes sense for you to not be here anymore. That is a typical voting out type of show move. I think some people find that move in this show a little like mean and like problematic, but I'm like, in reality, the vote is really just to make sure that they all go further in the game. Do I think the targeting of Ron was a little bizarre? Absolutely. And do I think it's bizarre and expected, unfortunately, that most of the people of color have all been murdered or banished? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I do. But unfortunately, I think it's the nature of this, like, Animal Farm, like, situation we're in. Herd mentality. They're just picking off people that don't, look, act, or talk like them. And that's the fucked up thing about these shows that I really dislike. And the other problem with this is that, like, Ron is on his own because he's also just a comedian. Like, he's not a housewife. He's not been on a competition reality show. He's not been on Dancing with the Stars. He's not been, like, he's just a comedian. So, like, he already went into the house with no one. When it comes to herd mentality, take race or background, out of it. He also just didn't have anyone who was maybe riding for him off the bat, because a lot of them didn't necessarily know him. That's the issue I have with celebrity traitors in these formats, is that there's a lot of pre-existing relationships that go into the show. There's a lot of pre-existing formats, like, maybe that's not the right word, but cinematic universes. So it's hard to permeate them. Like, the Drag Race girls always get killed or banished because there's always one of them. The stray comedian often doesn't make it because there's only one of them. I mean, Michael might qualify himself as a comedian, but I won't give him that. But that's a general problem here. And in the end, Ron wouldn't have been someone to take. The only person who would have taken Ron to the end of the game was Rob, and Rob can't do that because he's a traitor. So that's my general thought on the Ron banishment. But during this banishment, Colton tries again to get votes on Lisa, and it is mildly successful. Like, Lisa gets 5 votes, which is a lot. I mean, Ron has 6, and that's what gets you kicked out. Lisa has 5, and then Colton ended up getting 4 votes. I just, literally, if 2 of the Lisa votes had just gone to Colton, or 1 Lisa vote, 1 Ron vote had gone to Colton, we could have been free from the shackles of Colton. Please. I was thinking the other day, his name is Colton Underwood, and he really is kind of like the straight, now turned gay demon version of Carrie Underwood. It's like, why with the last name Underwood do you have to be so demented? I don't know. It's something I was thinking about. But yeah, so once again, Ron gets 6 votes, Lisa gets 5 votes, and Colton gets 4 votes, sending Ron home. All eyes are now on Lisa, and some eyes are trying to get on Colton. There's this group of faithfuls, including Johnny Weir and Mark from Dancing with the Stars and Tara Lipinski. They're trying to get Colton out. And Kristen Kitsch is like, he's a traitor. Unfortunately, he's not a traitor, but in the end, I think they should get him out because he is just getting in the same way Michael Rappaport was getting in the way of their game, Colton's also getting in the way of their game. And while that can be helpful for a little bit because no one's thinking about Kristen Kitsch right now, in the end, Colton is just gonna wreak havoc in the house, and he's not gonna help you, bond with anyone further to get you further in the game. He's just gonna kind of take over the conversation. So I think Colton needs to be next, but allegedly we have some insane things coming up in next week's episode. Before we get to that, we do have to talk about Rob put the first traitor on traitor vote on the round table. Rob did shake up the Traitors alliance and vote for Lisa because he knows that he doesn't want to vote for Ron and he doesn't want to vote for Colton. Now, I see both sides of this. I don't think it was a great idea to vote for a traitor when they've been so tight, but at the same time, if he voted for Ron or Colton, it does make him look like a traitor if they suss out Lisa. And it puts eyes from Colton onto him to be like, why are you voting weird? Are you a traitor? And Colton won't shut the fuck up. So maybe he's like, I'll do this to shut him up and then we can get rid of him. I kind of see what he was thinking about here, honestly. I think I may have thought about doing the same thing if I was in Rob's shoes. Especially because Lisa's at the bottom of the totem pole. Of the traitors, Lisa is the one that clearly is going to get sussed out first. It's just depending on when. So, but at the same time, I don't know if you really want to do that. Voting out traitors as a traitor doesn't always work well. You know, Rob created that whole shenanigan to get Bob out, and then Rob got voted out 2 weeks after just because it just puts so much heat and eyes on you. I just kind of say vote with the House, and the House really was voting Ron or Colton. You made the House start voting Lisa, Rob. So that's kind of my thought there. But at the end of the episode, Alan surprises everyone with a twist, announcing that instead of going to sleep, they're going to a banquet dinner. And they are going to do a murder in plain sight. Now, let's talk about this. The logistics here on when they're sleeping, I don't know. There is a world in which they could have woken up that morning, gone to the challenge, come back, gone to the round table, come back, go do the banquet. That's so much filming in one day. I would be a shell of a human. So, but allegedly, Alan says it is the most explosive episode of Traitors US to date. I'm going to be watching live. I have to see what goes down because I'm worried for my girl Candace, because I've heard some things that Miss Candace goes full Candiace. And for those that don't know, she spells her name Candiace. And full not today neck, not today ankles, these girlies. That's the rumor I've heard. That is the rumor I have heard. So that's what's coming up in episode 7. I'm excited, y'all. This show continues to be so fun to me. Oh, wait. The drama online. There was drama online this week. So people are being, irrationally rude to Colton. I kind of think he deserves it, to be honest with you. We should never be doxing. We should never be death threats. We should never be that. I'm just saying, critiquing him is valid. But, I can't tell if this response is from the critiquing or if this is from people doing really salacious things. Don't be salacious, but you can talk shit about him. That's my point of view on it. He's talking shit about people on a show. You can talk shit about him. I'm doing it on a podcast, so. But in the comments on someone, I think it was on Gibson's post, which Gibson's always getting in the mix with the girls and then getting on comments by Bravo. But Lisa commented on one of the posts and said, let's not talk about let's not talk about the stalking allegations. See, that's when Lisa takes it a little too far, but I like it. Sorry. But then she had to issue an apology because I think Peacock got on her, and then the Traitors Instagram account had to post this thing, be like, bullying is not allowed in the social media space of the Traitors. And it's like, okay, but Michael Rappaport was on here bullying people, and you didn't issue an apology for his ass. And by the way, Michael Rappaport is going to be on Watch What Happens Live, I think tonight, or maybe next week, I don't know, sometime soon. And I'm like, we're still doing that? We're still doing that. So that's something to not set your DVR for. But yeah, that was the online drama this week. Well, guys, we will be back with a lot of episodes. Friday, an episode recapping the. Wait, what's Friday's episode? No, this is the Friday episode. We're not going to recap Salt Lake City anymore. The finale is the final reunion trailer. Reunion is going to be what it is. I think we tied a bow after the Rachel Lindsay chat this week, but we'll have another one. Well, this episode will come out on, I believe, Wednesday, and then on Sunday, an episode unpacking the Traitors season 4, episode 7 banquet dinner will be out for you to listen to. Keep your eye out for some America's Next Top Model content. Summer House returns next week. So next week we got a Summer House premiere recap with Pet Shop Boy. And please stay sane, people. The world is really, really frightening right now. And it is incredibly frustrating for a lot of us because a lot of us have seen this place we're in coming. And it felt like no one was listening. I also want to send so much love, especially to the Black and brown people out there listening to this show. If they don't even ever listen to this show, just the vibes, because I know that there's a ton of trauma, a ton of bullshit that y'all have been through. And some people didn't listen when it was happening then. And now they're listening now. Because it's affecting white people. And it's something that's really hard for me to have sympathy for people that are just now understanding. But I want you to know that I'm a safe space if you ever need to turn off your brain and listen to the show. Or also if you need to get at me and need to just express some rage, please DM me. You know where to find me. I rage, not about me. Rage about the state of the world. Y'all, it is crazy, and I pray we're closer to the other side than we are to the beginning of this. But I will be here talking shit about Colton Underwood and Lisa Rinna if you need to escape. So I love you all very deeply, and if you got to this point in the episode, the tone has shifted, but it means a lot that you're here, and I appreciate all of your love and support always, and I'm sending that right back at you. So y'all have a great week. Stay strong, and if you can't stay strong, that's also okay. Just take some time to recuperate your mind, body, and spirit, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.